Hello.
Hello.
We're chatting about Pinterest traffic not guaranteeing sales today.
Yes. It's so
I get
easy
this
to
a lot.
yeah, it's so easy to go, traffic, traffic, traffic. And we talk about outbound clicks being the big metric and whatnot. But
Right. So I get this a lot. Like, I'm getting clicks to my website, but nobody's buying. And I think that this is like many questions or statements that people make about business. There's actually a lot of underlying issues that
yeah,
is going on. And we've talked about this in other lives that, you know, you need other skills. Like
yeah,
Pinterest is just traffic engine, but there's ultimately like other skills that you have to learn.
right.
And we're always learning. We're
Hmm.
always trying to get better in our businesses and
Yeah.
sell and make offers that people want.
Yes.
So that's kind of what we're
Yeah.
going to chit chat about today is why
Okay.
Pinterest traffic does not guarantee sales.
Yeah.
So I think my first
And
initial, go
but it's
ahead.
not just it's not just Pinterest traffic. Traffic in
No, it's
general from anywhere
just
doesn't guarantee
website
sales.
traffic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. Well, website traffic, that's a really good call out. Whether you're sending traffic via email,
Mhm.
social media apps like TikTok or Instagram,
Yep.
LinkedIn,
Yep. That being
Pinterest.
said, I mean, we could talk today. I know you have some stuff you want to cover, but we could add in a kind of a conversation about like maybe some of the specifics with Pinterest that could potentially be part of the issue.
Mhm.
Like as far as like what kind of traffic you're sending and things like that. But yeah, that's just one thought about it.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to kick off this chat by just saying like traffic to your website is not the same as, um, it doesn't equate to buyer intent.
Right.
So people can come to your website, but they may not be ready to buy at all.
Right.
They may have saw something they may have seen something that made them curious.
Hmm.
They could have been inspired.
Hmm.
They could be researching. They could be
Yep.
your competitor.
Yep. And
Uh,
none of these things are bad. They're just
no,
right. They just might not have that. It just is.
it
It just
is.
explains the phenomenon. Yep.
But when you are really thinking about driving traffic to your website, this is why when we talk about pin design, we talk about designing pins in a way that kind of splits across the different customer journeys that people are going to be on.
Mm,
Um, so I don't know, what are your thoughts?
I would love to hear more about that.
More about that. Okay, so
Yeah.
I teach in the membership some about, and I'm actually going to be working on a new workshop for this. I have not had a moment to outline it, but I want to create a new workshop on creating Pinterest pins with various angles. And
Mhm.
those angles being, and using your Pinterest keywords, but those angles being kind of bucketed by like awareness, consideration, and purchase, but like more on the other two sides, like less consideration, but more on like awareness and purchase.
Okay.
Like what kind of words, what kind of copy should you be using for
Mhm.
those, specifically those two buckets to get people to make sure you're attracting the right people and the right people are clicking on your pins.
Yeah.
So awareness style pins could be more in that inspiration or like curiosity phase.
Yep.
So that could be like, um, you know, the best interior design trends for 2026. And then that's very inspirational. That's aspirational. Somebody could click on that that's looking to make some home updates in their house, me always, and see what those trends are. And that just gives them information. It helps them to begin that research phase and begin comparing like styles and trends that they might be wanting. Pinterest Trends put out a report this year that had some interior design styles in it. So you might be matching up pins to those Pinterest trends, and you might be attracting people who are very much in the awareness phase of their journey.
Mm.
Whereas if you have a very specific product and a very specific design trend, then you would be using copy and keywords related to the product.
Mm,
Typically, when people search on Pinterest and they're looking for awareness and they don't even know what they want just yet, a lot of the pins are content pins. Whereas if you search for a product, a lot of the pins are product pins. And
yep.
you'll know they're product pins because they'll have a little product thing like tag next to them.
Yep.
And generally they look like they're from like a shop, like a Shopify store.
Yep. Yep. So you're talking about the difference kind of like between someone seeing a pin of yours that is about, can you give me an example of one of the Pinterest trends that came out this year, the interior
Yeah, it was like
ones?
neo deco.
Okay. I like deco. I don't know about the neo part, but okay. So, inspiration would be more like the neo deco trend in interior design, and then you'd click on it, and it would go to maybe a blog post we
Explains the
wrote
trend.
that you wrote that explains the trend, shows some inspirational examples of it. Maybe some of those examples are from your products, maybe others are just other images that you've pulled in with permission to show what the trend looks like.
Yeah.
Whereas if someone were to search like neo deco bath accessories, then they might find like your products that you either sell or affiliate for that
Hmm.
are literally products that it could go to a product pin that you have that's like a certain product that you sell, a bath accessory that you're like, oh yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's neo deco. That's what people have been
Yeah.
saying they want. We created a product like that, and now it matches up with this trend. Is that what you're thinking? Is that a good example?
Yeah. So kind of to dive a little bit deeper into
Runs to Google neo deco.
that specific thing. So our friend Teresa has a Pinterest client that sells like accessories and home decor items that are really beautiful. And a lot of people that own like hotels and Airbnbs and like rentals buy them, but also everyday people are buying them as well. And they help you to like decant your soaps and stuff, and it just makes it brings the style in. So then you're not like sitting there with this like bottle of lotion on your counter that doesn't match the rest of your decor, right? So
Okay.
it's like that's kind of what you were saying is like with the neo deco, like if that was the trend style. This one is like more minimalist, modern bathroom decor, but
Okay.
it would be like, modern bathroom soap dispensers
Okay.
would be the keyword that you would use, and you would show up in that. So when people are actually in the buying phase of their journey and they search for that thing, the product comes up that you sell.
Okay. Makes sense. By the way, neo deco is not at all what I thought it would look like.
I don't even know if that's the proper trend, honestly, that,
No, it is. You're right. There's a 2026 article about it. Anyway, go ahead.
yeah,
From Architectural Digest.
it's
Wow.
quite fun. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, if you haven't heard of it before, like if anyone's watching, they haven't heard of it before, I would definitely go take
Yeah.
a peek because it's quite fun. I like it.
Do you remember that hotel that we had a drink in? That really beautiful hotel
Yes,
in Dallas?
I loved that hotel.
That's what the images in the Neo Deco article remind me of, but I digress.
I'm going home, Jenna, and I'm going to be decorating my home in like this, you know,
Exciting.
natural
Yeah.
in between, not bold or glam per se, but like, yeah.
Okay.
Anyways,
Wait, what were we talking about again?
back to what we were talking about.
Back to
Um,
business. Back to business.
no, we were just talking specifically about why buyer intent and
Mhm.
traffic don't necessarily, one
Right.
doesn't equal the other.
Right. No, and this is a really good, a little bit of a, it's kind of like a rabbit hole of discussion, but
Hmm.
it maps directly back to that because like in college, studying marketing, I studied like the 5 stages of buyer awareness, and it's not something I ever really talk about or teach in my programs because
Yeah,
I don't really like to assume that my audience wants to learn those, right? Like they're not like a
yeah.
marketing nerd, right? And I learned them so that you don't have to learn them to like kind of bake them into the process. And there's like these 5 stages of buyer awareness, but the three you're talking about, the main ones, are
Hmm.
really like kind of like at the very beginning where they're like discovering you, where it's awareness. And then
Yeah.
in the middle, consideration. And then toward the end is the things that like the last minute kind of questions people have, right
Yeah.
as they're sort of thinking about which exact product they want to buy to solve the problem or whatnot, right? So if you have people coming to your site who are more in the beginning because you've created pins that are aimed toward that, it's not a bad thing that they're coming to your site, but we probably want to be thinking from a strategic perspective if we're creating a lot of pins about things that are more inspirational, discovery oriented and stuff, like how am I going to capture those leads and keep in
Mhm.
communication with them? So one way to do that would be to like pixel them and retarget them with ads, right? Another
Yeah.
way to do that would be to get them on your email list. Another way to do that is literally on Pinterest, where if they saved your pin to a board, Pinterest probably is going to serve them up another one of your pins at some point and kind of like organically almost like retarget them in that way, right?
Mhm.
So there's lots of different ways you can kind of like do that. But if you're seeing a lot of traffic from those people, but they're bouncing and they're not doing anything, that's not like it's like I said, it's not an inherently bad thing. It's actually normal.
Yeah.
And you need to build in part of your strategy to actually figure out what to do about that. Or the other thing you can do is create more bottom of funnels, what they call it, content as well, where people are to target people who are closer to the buying decision. Or you can do
Yeah.
both, right? So
Yeah,
interesting.
for sure. Okay, so this kind of leads me nicely into the next point that I wrote down earlier and I want to make is that Pinterest users specifically are often earlier in their buyer journey
Right.
because they haven't quite figured out what they want yet. That's
Mm-hmm.
a large part of why they use this platform is to get inspired.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much a discovery platform, and they have built themselves that way for years, even though
Yeah.
now they're kind of moving towards shopping as well. They've been
Yep.
doing that for years too, but um, they're very much discovery in that you can pop on the platform and start just browsing and end
Mm-hmm.
up somewhere totally random that you weren't expecting to go.
Yep.
Um,
Pinners are
so
planners.
yeah, they are. They are big,
Mm-hmm.
very big planners. And there are these things called moments on Pinterest that you can really capitalize on. And those on Pinterest are very much oriented around like moments in people's lives. I'm gonna go pull up my slide and I'm gonna read them off because I think that it would be um just super beneficial to
Mm-hmm.
know what they are. I'm just gonna pull it up really quick. They're like wrapped around holidays
Mm-hmm.
and like the reason why people celebrate certain things. So, like, seasonal moments are very much holiday oriented or cultural. They could
Mm-hmm.
even be religious events. So, we just had Easter and Passover, Ramadan.
Mm-hmm.
Those fit kind of into these seasonal moments that people live every year, no matter what, those events
Mm-hmm.
happen on
Yeah.
cue. And then more traditional moments are like personal and meaningful milestones that might happen either like once a year or once in a lifetime, probably less like once a year unless it's like a birthday, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
retirements and graduations and new babies and new home ownership and
Yep.
um,
Quinceañera,
yeah. And then that
bat
kind of
mitzvah.
blends into life moments as well. So I kind of see these two actually as more like a grayscale.
Mm.
Life moments are more personal events that brands can capture, and you see brands capturing these a lot. So these are weddings, baby showers, vacations,
Mm.
big, big moments in people's lives, and that's a huge reason why people go to
First,
Pinterest.
first home, going to college, things like that.
Yeah. And then there's something that Pinterest calls unique moments, and these are what happen. They're unique to the person, they're not unique to circumstances. So these are like everyday, maybe you're putting a dinner party on for your friends,
Mm.
or you are planning a date night with your spouse,
Mm-hmm.
or you're planning a family movie night for your kids, those
Mm-hmm.
kinds of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So those are the moments that I see as like very Pinterest specific.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Creating content around that discovery and that planning stage and that researching phase, those are really going to help you. And I know I'm telling you to create content. I'm telling you to blog.
Yeah.
Eight blogs
Yeah.
around those things for your
Yep.
business.
Cosign.
That is what people are looking for
Yeah.
ultimately. Or if you
Yeah.
don't want to blog, you could make a YouTube video or you could
Hmm.
record a podcast.
Hmm. Hmm.
Long form content comes in all shapes and sizes these days. So ultimately, I think that is going to help people
Hmm.
inform themselves before they're ready to make a buying decision. And then ultimately, you can connect your content to the products in your store
Hmm.
if you're selling products.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're talking about like kind of some of the more like traditional Pinterest niches and
Hmm.
products and whatnot. And this happens on the business side too,
Yeah.
that I hear from people who get traffic to their website from pins. And it's interesting because a lot of times, like, someone will want me to show me their Pinterest, right? So, for example, in HLC, there are two times when you can get on strategy calls with me for to unlock bonuses.
Yeah.
And sometimes those strategy calls, people want me to look at their Pinterest because they know, that I know Pinterest. And
Yeah.
so we'll go back, have them share their screen, we'll look at their analytics. And a lot of times they'll pull up their pins and be like, look at these pins that like are getting me all this traffic. I just don't know what to do about it because like they're not really, either they're like not related to like directly related to their work somehow, or they're like old or outdated or whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, and so I forget what I was talking about with this. Anyway, you can end up with getting a lot of traffic from Pinterest, and if it's not related to the search intent for what you're currently like setting people up to buy, like it can be frustrating, but there's also things you can do about it. Like, so I've
Yeah.
actually advised people before, like, oh, okay, well, why don't you take this blog that's getting all this traffic and put a link up at the top of it to like three other blogs that are related that are more, you know, um, current for you and are things that actually are converting your clients, or interlink it in some other ways, maybe not even right at the top, or add a content upgrade so that you can get someone on your email list and then be sending them things about the things that are more relevant, that are related in some way to what
Yeah.
your post was about. Um, so, again, there's things you can do to look and see what's happening in the customer journey and why people are coming to your site from Pinterest or from anywhere, but bouncing fast or not taking a next step and actually affecting that and like adding a step that they can take, for example. So sometimes
Yeah.
if you're seeing bounciness like that, there are things you can do about it. And it's sometimes worth doing it. Sometimes people just kind of throw their hands up and they're like, well, like for me on my website, I'm getting all this traffic from Pinterest to all these old Asana posts.
Hmm.
Well, that's okay. Like I've actually figured out some ways to capitalize on that. And I do get people onto my email list from those posts. And then
Yeah.
they can learn about my other offers and determine whether my other offers are something that, that are relevant for them. And they can either stay or they can unsubscribe. That's fine too.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, this is definitely a thing in both the B2C space and the B2B spaces too.
Lauren says, does updating a pin restart its momentum? And the answer is often yes, Lauren. If you change anything about a pin, it oftentimes will re-index. Now, what you can do is you can go in and attempt to edit it. And you have to find the original because any saved versions that come up that stemmed off the original, you won't be able to edit those. So you have to find the original. If the original is what went viral for you, because you mentioned earlier that you had something go viral. Um, if you edit the original, you make changes. Sometimes Pinterest will give you a warning before you make that change. For example, if you change anything from Instagram after it's already had views, so like something comes over from Instagram and it got views, but it's linking back to Instagram still, you go to save it, it's going to give you a warning that it's going to reset the stats. What that means is it's going to re-index. So if you change anything about a pin after it's gotten views, generally it's going to re-index it because whatever you changed it to now has to be indexed into the algorithm and they have to serve it to the right audience. So generally the answer to your question is yes.
So follow up on that. When it gets re-indexed, that could be good for you, but it also could be bad in the sense, I mean, good and bad is kind of silly dichotomy,
I
but
guess it depends on, yeah, we have this conversation with our girls a lot because our 10-year-old is asking questions all the time, like, is this bad or is that bad or is so and
there's
so bad?
it's just trade-offs.
We're like, well, there's really no like there's no good and bad, I guess. It's just
Yeah.
yeah, trade-offs. So
Yeah.
um it could be good, it could be bad. I guess it depends on what it's attracting. So if Lauren's attracting the in complete wrong audience and something is going viral, then maybe it would be a better thing for her
Yeah.
to change that. You'll figure out the audience you're attracting by going into your analytics, and you can filter out um, Pinterest traffic, and there's more filters that you can put in, like ages and demographics and stuff, and it'll show you the pins that are bringing those people in. So let's say I was attracting 65-year-old men to my Pinterest pins. I've only had 115 impressions in the last 30 days from 65 plus year old men, by the way.
Hmm.
But I would
I can send Marshall
likely
to
want,
your profile if you want.
did you?
I can if you
I
need
would
more.
likely want to
Send my
change
husband.
that content because I wouldn't necessarily want to attract those people. So, yes and no, I think it doesn't,
Sorry, being silly.
yeah. Okay, moving on. This one is going to be a little hard for people to hear if they are watching the replay. Not Lauren's great. She's on it. But um if you have a weak offer or you've put no effort into making your website convert, or you don't understand sales copy or sales psychology, oftentimes these things can lead to gaps in sales.
Yeah.
No shade on anybody. It's a skill that you have to learn. I also am always learning this skill. I think it's something that we can always continue to learn and get better at.
Yeah.
But sometimes people go hog wild on over designing their blog pages or blog posts,
Hmm.
or spending too much time on their sidebar or, a pop-up. And then their blog post has 6 different colors and it's on a pink background.
Hmm.
That's not going to help people want to stick around,
Yeah.
click on anything or buy anything. So really taking a listen to what Jana said a minute ago about people bouncing on your website, looking at those individual posts, maybe even installing heat maps on your website or on pages of your site or blog posts, and seeing what people's behavior is so you can then implement changes to help combat leaks,
Hmm.
because you're getting website traffic, but then they're not doing anything. And this is often the thing that people say. I said this at the top too.
Hmm.
People come to me and they're like, hey, Heather, I have these affiliate blog posts and people just aren't buying through my links.
Hmm.
But when I go look at your blog content and there's no hard calls to action, there's no product information in the blog post, that's going to make it really hard. That is more of a research or like
Yeah.
awareness style blog post. It's not
Right.
really set up for sales.
Right. Or like if I'm looking at your blog post and like I can't really identify what problems your offer solves for who.
Yeah.
I know when I'm looking at something like that, I'm like, okay, I'm scanning to see if they've highlighted some kind of problem or pain
Mhm.
point that people have that they can solve with this product. And if there's nothing
Yeah.
there, I'm like, well, what would motivate people then, right? It's either people are motivated by moving away from pain or toward pleasure. So it's got to be one or the other. And the pain, unfortunately, sometimes works better. So looking to see where you've showed problems or pain points that you can solve is a big one for me when I'm auditing something like that.
Yeah. And starting small with changes, because you don't know exactly, oftentimes with this online world, it's hard to know exactly what in a blog post or on a sales page is driving people away.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's why I like using heat maps and
Hmm. Hmm.
looking at web page data, like traffic
Hmm.
data. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
I
yeah.
want to just do one really quick call out, which is like for people who are here because they like follow me and they're coaches or service providers and they're getting like, kind of minimal but exciting traffic from Pinterest. Like they have Pinterest set up because they get some traffic and it's autopilot and it converts from time to time and it's worth it for them. For them, I would never recommend like heat maps or even looking at like really spending a ton of time with Google Analytics. Um, so what
Yep.
you're talking about works great for people when you have more of a volume of traffic, when
Yep.
you're like you're not just doing like a minimum viable Pinterest strategy. You're like really doing Pinterest and you're getting a lot of traffic and there's enough volume to like be able to really analyze it and parse the data and things like that. great strategies, but I just wanted to call out like for people who are
Yep.
doing like a more minimum viable and you're getting maybe, 10 or 30 or 50 clicks from Pinterest every month to your blog and your blog and your offers and you love that. You're like I would in those cases I'm looking more at like the psychology strategies that you're talking about and
Yeah.
like is your blog high converting as opposed to looking at like the pure numbers and parsing them.
Yeah.
But just to say, like what you're talking about is totally valid, but just like for people who are getting higher volumes of traffic.
Absolutely. Yvonne says, I'm new to Pinterest and I'm selling digital templates in my ecom store. Any quick advice?
Cool.
I was just working on my own digital store earlier, and I will say for your store specifically, make your images really easy to see and read. I have a
Mhm.
very simple template that I use for all my products. I need to still update some of them, but for Pinterest specifically, make sure you're using headers and calls to action that diversify who you're selling to. So you're selling digital templates. I'm sure that those digital templates help multiple different types of audiences. Um, my digital template seller client can target, like we can do, content creators and influencers. Those are the same group of people, but they oftentimes will call themselves different things. Coaches and course sellers, which could also be the same thing, service providers, things like that. So make sure you're using your Pinterest SEO strategy diversely and you're using different images, make different mock-ups, keep things fresh.
I would say write blog posts that talk about the things that your offers,
Hmm.
the problems your offers solve.
Yeah.
Talk about the goals that your audience has that your products help them achieve and exactly get specific about how. Blog posts that shift beliefs as needed. So if you know that there are certain things that people typically believe that keep them from buying,
Hmm.
make a list of those and talk about those in blog posts so that you can help them shift the beliefs that they need to understand the value of your product in a way that they maybe don't before you shift that belief.
Yep.
Those are the things that I teach about in terms of like blog strategy for selling digital products.
Yeah. That's really good. Okay. That's really all I
Some people,
had today.
some people hear that and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to write blogs." And I'm like, "Okay, understood." But like a lot of times when we see people getting traffic but not sales, it's because they're not writing blogs. And that's what you talked about at the top of the hour, not really the hour, but the top of the half hour, which is like sometimes people just like they need more information from you before they're ready to
Mhm.
buy. And like it's literally our job as marketers to provide that information. One of the
Yeah.
easiest ways to do that is to have a blog. So, um, and remember, like a blog doesn't have to be super complicated, like the way I teach blogging in high leverage content. We're not trying to become a blogger. We're
Yeah.
just having a blog. You're not a blogger, you're a business owner who sells
Yeah.
products, who has a blog that sells those products. It's not, there's a lot of strategies that go into being a blogger that we
Hmm.
somehow have convinced ourselves that we would have to do, even if we're not trying to monetize with ads and things like that.
Yeah.
And you don't. You really can have a very simple blog.
Yeah.
Um, and it can be so easy to, have that there. You write the content in an evergreen way, and then it can serve you for months and years. So don't get scared and think that a blog is a lot of work. It doesn't have to be a lot of work, and it can be so worth it when it
Yeah.
comes to bridging that gap between people coming to your website and needing information to feel ready to buy and not seeing it on whatever page you've sent them to and being like, okay, bye. Bridging
Yeah.
that gap between that and like them landing on a blog post where like, oh, okay, I see this problem that I want to solve and how this product solves it, whether it's a $9 product or a $27 product or an $89 product or a, $5,000 coaching program. Like that's what we need to bridge that gap sometimes, is
Yeah.
content. And a blog is the easiest way to do that for most of us.
For sure.
It's easier than you think it is.
I like a blog.
I love a blog. We love a blog. We love a good blog, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. I believe that next week we're talking about, I don't know what we're talking about, but we have it mapped out, but I'm going to schedule it later.
Okay.
So if you want to chat with us next week, We'll be here, same place, same time. In the meantime, if this made you realize that you might have a traffic problem, or maybe you don't have a traffic problem, maybe you have a traffic to sales path problem, you can join my email list, you can join Jana's email list, and begin to learn some more from us.
Yep, a lot of what we both teach about is bridging that gap. Certainly, like my whole program and everything I teach, both for free and inside the paid program, are really all about getting people ready to buy faster. And that's really what it all comes down to, right? It's like if you're getting a lot of traffic and but people aren't buying, like you need to figure out what you need to say to them and how to get it across to them to get them ready to buy. So,
Really quick, I'm gonna leave a message for Yvonne because she sent me something that is super relevant to what I was just doing today.
okay.
So on Canva, on your home screen, if you go to templates on the left, like in the left-hand bar, it says Home
Yeah.
Project Templates. If you go in there and you search through that feed of inspired by your designs or discover like different templates and you search for digital mockups, Yvonne, there are a ton of different mockups in there. I know that's what you said you have been struggling with. There's a bunch of different social media mockups in there that you can adapt. And
Yeah.
I would just like open them and then save them to like a folder or something so you can
Mhm.
then apply them to designs and you can customize them more to your brand. But I bought a just a template pack a couple of years ago from Etsy, I think,
Mhm.
and I just adapted it to my branding. Super easy. I only used 3 pages out of like the 40 that they sold me. And it's so easy. I literally updated like 8 different listings on my store right before this live to match the new kind of branding because I launched the store prior to changes. And it took me like 20 minutes to
Mhm.
do 8 of them.
So
So
funny. I
fast.
remember back in the old Clubhouse days, I remember we occasionally I would talk about this tool called Smart Mockups,
Yeah.
which had its own like separate subscription and everything. And now, and then like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, like Canva bought Smart Mockups. They just like they gobbled that right up, just like they gobble up anything that's good.
Yeah.
And now it's all just built into Canva for your what is it? What
It
does Canva
is.
cost per month for the paid program? It's like
I
$18
pay like
a month or something
I pay like 120 or something a year.
a year. Yeah. So yeah, it's so Canva is
Super
like
cheap.
one of the best like bang for your buck tools, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
for
good.
sure. Go on Etsy, Yvonne, and if you can't find anything in Canva that you like, go on Etsy. There's so many really affordable templates on there. Find something that you like,
Hmm.
adapt it. Make sure you
Creative,
change it because all templates
creative,
are starting
oh,
place.
hmm. Creative Market's another place to look.
Yeah, yeah. Creative Market's also good. I forget about that one.
Mm.
So, okay, we will see you guys back here next week. I'll have a slew of different lives that you can check out next week, and we'll see you back here then.
And we're here every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. If there's anyone catching us for the first time and wondering what time we're here, we are 10 a.m. Eastern time on Wednesdays.
Okay, see you then. I am I feel like I could go to sleep. I am like
Oh,